Welcome everybody to another edition of Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers. I got Christopher Clark on with us tonight, and Stacy Buxton's trying to get on board here as he's working on it from behind the scenes. So we hope to have him on here pretty quick. But we're going to talk a little bit about the Badger State schedule. We're going to talk about announcing and what different things announcing of us, together mean, and the love of the sport that all of us have. And the love of all the fans. So that's our big thing. If we do our job and we gain a few fans in a night, then we did our job. So, Kristopher, how you been?
I've been great. I've been having a lot of fun with pulling this winter. Just made a trip down to Louisville again. Got the opportunity to go for a second time down to see the MAC Winter Nationals this last weekend. Wanted to check that out, and Miles down there again doing the announcing and doing a great job. Always like getting a chance to listen to him, and don't always get to do that during the summer, so it was great to get to hear him and Dan Mayer a couple times this winter down in Louisville.
Awesome. So I'm sure that was a very good show down there. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I see the River Rat won the Pro Stock.
Yeah, he did. The Pro Stock was pretty good with the three-way pull-off that they had there, where you had to be all the way through the sand pile essentially to make the pull-off, and three of them did that. And then in the semi class down there, it was the first time a semi hit the sand pile there at that event as well. Stacy, how are we doing tonight?
I got my technology going. I'm actually on my laptop. How about that?
There we go. Stepping up the game now.
Well, I'm challenged, that's for sure. But yeah, I didn't realize I had to scroll down a little further where it says enter the studio.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, sometimes you knock on the door and nobody answers till you click the right button.
Yeah, that's usually how it works with me. Yeah. How you guys doing tonight?
We're doing good. How about you?
Doing good. Nice to see everybody.
Nice to see everybody too. Yeah, so thought we'd all get together tonight and kind of talk about some different things than what we did last time, where we introduced ourselves and background and stuff. Got the schedule here. Going to kind of go through the schedule a little bit if we want to do that first, and then from there we'll move on to a few other things. So very large schedule for Badger State again this year. Greg doing a great job. So we're going to start out the season the 1st of June in Prairie du Sac. Must be the FFA poll, I'm assuming, up there.
Yeah, that's a little news, John. I can kind of give you a little insight on that. I actually right now at this very minute, the Sauk Prairie FFA alumni is having their nightly meeting, and I got to chat with some of those folks before their meeting tonight, and kind of they're pretty fired up. It's a couple of big changes. They come into a meeting this winter and they said, we're going to make some big changes to our event and try to spice things up a little bit and see if we can't draw a little bit of a different crowd to some of the events and add some more fans to the stands. So they switched the Badger State from the fall till the spring, and then Southwest Pullers and some farm classes are going to be there in the fall. And it's a new time. They're going to go with a 4:00 start time at both events and try to do a little something different. And they're going to have a big name band after at about 8:00 after the poll to have some nightly entertainment. So some exciting news there. So a little different for the Badger State schedule to kick it off there this year.
Yeah, they moved that off. That used to be traditionally like the third weekend of August, I believe, is when that used to be up there at Sauk, that the Badger State poll anyway. But the FFA alumni, they've always been having a poll up there at this time in the past, haven't they, Kristopher?
Yeah, yep. This poll, it usually was the weekend before. I guess Memorial Day weekend is when it was, and it was always a PI Motorsports poll that weekend for a lot of years, and that's kind of where I started announcing a lot of my seasons years, 8-10 years ago would announce that one. So they changed the date, changed the time, and changed the association that's going to be there for the first one of the year this year. So a lot of big changes.
Yeah, you said they're changing it up. Yeah. I just got a little bit of an overview here for all the folks. the Badger State tractor pullers, we've got 25 events this summer. 25 events encompassing 30 sessions of pulling. Some of them events are 2 days, or like Hillsborough, we got 3 sessions. Freeport's a couple of days also, but 30 sessions of pulling over 25 events, and we start in June and we're done in September. So it gets pretty busy, especially once the calendar flips over to July.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Busy year, always busy. Well, we moved from Prairie Stack to the Baraboo Pull, the American Family Children's Hospital Pull, the 8th. And that's one that all the Badger State tractor pullers take a lot of pride in. And we hope that all you fans that are watching will be able to make that pull. We are going to try and ramp things up some more this year, because we actually got a little side bet going on with the boys down in Missouri that put on a benefit pull the same day. So we kind of got a little family fun grudge match with them, and if they raise more money than what we do, for what they've made a year versus us, then we got to send down some cheese and some New Glarus beer, and if we win, then they're going to send up some steaks from the Ruth Farms down there and something else. So good little match with them guys. So.
Yeah, and yesterday, if you were on Facebook yesterday, there was a video floating around from them. I think it's like the Children's Miracle Power Pullers, I think they call it. Don't quote me on that, but there's a pulling tractor model that they are raffling off, and they revealed that yesterday on Facebook, and that video went around quite a lot yesterday. So they kind of got their head start on some of their fundraising efforts going in for that pull. So we really got to show up strong here in Wisconsin for it. I don't know if all 3 of us are going to be there. I think there's going to be 2 of us calling that show possibly.
Yes, yeah. I am. My niece is getting married, and I'm the one that's officiating the wedding. So I will not be able to attend this year. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it'll be me and Stacy will be calling that show too.
I got me and you, Kristopher, are going to be at that one.
You got her on the list. Yeah, I think that's also a little bit of the schedule, is revealing who's going to be announcing the show. I mean, there's got to be at least one person that might like that bit of information out there in the world, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a full summer.
Yes.
You'll be at,
and I'm sure at the Children's Hospital pull up there. We've had a Calcutta there in the past almost every year, I'm pretty sure, and that's proved to be quite spirited bidding on that when that gets going too.
Yeah, there is, and it's a good thing you bring that up, Stacy. I do have an actual auctioneer that has asked me a couple times this winter about helping out at that, or chipping in a little bit to help with that. So I need to get that information passed along as well. That little trick up our sleeve we might have, Stacy, that night.
A professional, that'd be fine by me.
Yep. Yeah,
so
and then
we're in Baraboo. Then we move on to June 14th and 15th, Friday night and Saturday night in Mackville, the Mackville Nationals that weekend. Badger State alongside the PPL circuit up there as well. They actually have stuff Thursday night up there, farm classes and the economods at the mini rods up there. And they also have classes on Sunday at Mackville. But those of you folks that have never been there, that's a pull you want to go check out. 2 tracks, side by side. It's Catholic Church that puts it all on. Great food, great bands afterwards. It's just an all-around good event. Yeah,
that poll's been on the Badger State schedule for, gosh, I think we're pushing 20 years on it now on the Badger State schedule. But the poll itself in Mackville's been going on for many years longer than that. That's quite a poll. That's the only place where you see a 300-foot long beer tent is up in Mackville, and they really come out for that just being a wide intersection in the road. They really pack the stands up there in Mackville. If anybody is watching is not sure where Mackville is at, just north of Appleton, Wisconsin, up there on the other side of Lake Winnebago is where Mackville's at. And there's not a lot there, but boy, come June 14th and 15th, there's going to be a lot of stuff there. And they got the dash for the cash for the kids and stuff. That's always a lot of fun. And they do a lot of different things up there. And it's well, on our video right there, there's somebody that's one of the Timmermans pulling at Macville. You can see the church in the background and the 300-foot long beer tent in the background. And yeah, it's quite a place up there. A lot of fun.
I've had the chance a couple times over the years to get to be part of that event too, and it's one that I always remember the electricity in the stands and with the crowd and the fans. It gets the announcer just a little extra excited when you're announcing that one. You really, it's really a thrill at that event. I mean, the crowd's excited, they're into it. Everybody's just having a great time at that one. It's awesome.
Yeah, it seems like that's, although we have a couple of polls before that, at least up in that part of the country, it seems like it's the official start of summer because everybody's ready to go. They come out, they hung the snowmobile suits up, and they're ready to get with the program.
Yeah.
That and it's fun because both of us get the drive up there too, Stacy, let alone announce. So
yeah, we'll be doing double duty. Yeah, John and I will be doing double duty up there. We're going to be pulling our mini rods also, and we'll have to juggle the lineup so we get a couple tractors in between us, John.
It'll work out. It always does.
We've done it in the past. We get her done.
I sat in the seat and announced just before I drove too.
Yeah.
Funny part of that was as I was announcing, as I was getting pushed back in, and Mike Dietrich was looking around like, how's he doing that? And he looked down, I had the microphone wedged up underneath my helmet, and I just had both hands sitting there. So my neck brace and the helmet held the microphone. So that was fun. So that's a great poll, great event. Yeah, St. Edward's Parish in Macville, Wisconsin. You got to come to that poll. That's a good time. To round out June will be Chaupier, Wisconsin on the 22nd. And we were there for the first time last year in Chaupier. And Chaupier is just east of Beloit. So it's deep in the south of Wisconsin. It's a great little event. They had quite a few people there last year. They're wanting to ramp things up a little more this year. It's a great little event down there. It's a nice venue. So check that out if you got time. After Chaupier, we get into July, and kick off July will be the 6th of July, and that will be the Edgerton Pull. And that's becoming quite an event as well. The pull started here a couple of years ago. It's the Tobacco Town Showdown, and those guys do a great job putting the pull on there. The track there is actually in between Edgerton and Janesville. It's a Milton address down at the Rock River Thresherman's Park. That's a beautiful venue too. They got a lot of great food there. They had a band there afterwards 2 years ago. Last year they did not, but they had some extra classes. It was a great event.
Yeah, that event's, I got to be there last year for the first time. They have a little matinee session. They'll have Southwest Pullers will have an altered farm class, and they have a diesel truck class, stuff like that. They're kind of right before Badger State, even as the crowd's still coming in, they kind of get the pulling kicked off. And like you said, it's a great venue there. That Thresherman's Park is just a great place to have a truck and tractor pull at.
And they had a great sound system last year. Tower Sound come in there and took care of all the sound. So it'll be a lot better from here on out.
Yeah.
It's one of the hardest things with announcing, and I know you guys firsthand as well too. And if you have a pull and the fans can't hear you, can't hear the distances, the sponsors don't get there to do, you're really losing out on your event. And that's one of the things that people will always remember from that event. You'll say such and such event, yep, sound sucked. Couldn't hear this, couldn't hear that, didn't know who even won, and a lot of places have been doing a lot better with that. And I'm very happy to hear that.
It's interesting you point that out, John. I went down to the farm show this year, and historically the farm show's sound system was just crap. I mean, you could talk in a garbage can and sound better. But this year they finally heated the fans, and they contracted their sound system out, and they had a whole sound system brought in just for the farm show tractor pull, and it was much improved. We could hear Miles and Dan Where I was sitting at, I could hear everything they had to say, and it was much, much, much better. But yeah, you're right. We get kind of spoiled up here, as a lot of our venues up here do utilize tower sound, and they know what they're doing. You know, they see us enough, and they know what a pull needs for sound. And yeah, there's nothing worse than being up on the announcer stand and somebody yelling at you, "Hey, we can't hear you over here," or "You're too loud," or stuff like that. And that's nothing we can control. We're just up there yapping.
Does make a huge difference.
Yeah, it does. And I'll just add quick on that. It's some smaller events that are kind of new or just getting going. I'll ask them, talk to them about the sound system, and they'll say, well, it's kind of a major cost. It's a cost to the promoter if they want to bring extra sound in to support their event. And, you look at it to what it does add, and how the appreciation the sponsors has to getting, everybody to hear them and hear the pullers. It's quite a benefit, and it takes a little bit for some promoters to kind of see that, outweigh that to the cost. But when they do it, it's what makes shows the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. Especially up to Hillsboro. Hillsboro, Kim comes up there with tower sound. And for like all the times that you interview people where they don't project their voice or talk, I guess, as loud as we do, she stands right there and she'll adjust the mic up and down for whoever we're talking to, so it sounds the same. And just having somebody right there doing that makes a huge difference too. They also do a good job in down the line there, Mazomanie, when they do interviews there. They have a specific mic for them down front. And they got that turned up so that everybody can hear them, and makes a difference. People can hear the puller and can hear the sponsors down there giving away awards. It makes a big difference, big time. So after Edgerton is Jefferson, Wisconsin, the Jefferson County Fair.
That kicks off our fair season there, I believe, doesn't it, John? That's our first county fair tractor pull.
Yep, first county fair there. And then Baraboo will be next. That'll be Kristopher on the 12th. And then down to Darlington.
Yeah, that's a double weekend for me. I've been doing that for a few years, and that weekend's pretty important to me. I double make sure I have no conflicts that weekend, usually with weddings or family events, or there's no canoeing trips for me that weekend. It's that double weekend. I've been doing that for 9 years, I think now, and been at Baraboo for around 11. So that's a fun 1-2 punch. If you're a real diehard Badger State fan, that's one that you travel to both of them back-to-back nights. It's a great time.
Fair season gets going pretty good then too, because we go to a brand new poll this year, the 17th of July, and Stacy Butson is going to be there announcing that one in Monticello, Iowa. Stacy, tell us a little bit about that fair.
Monticello, Iowa is a new venue on the Badger State circuit here for 2024, and we're going to be co-sanctioned with the PPL Western Series out there, the Champion Seeds Western Series. We're co-sanctioning with them, and they're bringing some classes in also. They've had pulling there at that fair for many, many years, and it's a big county fair. Jason's throwing some stuff up on the board there. It's referred to as the Great Jones County Fair, and it is a huge county fair. And yeah, you see there on July 18th, the night after the tractor pullings there, they got country superstar Lainey Wilson going to be playing in front of the grandstand.
I'll chime in on that, Stacy. How about that? The entertainer of the year in country music is going to be playing at the same fair Badger State tractor pullers are going to be at. And I'll tell you what, if you think you're going to go see her, you're thinking wrong, because my daughter really wants to go see Lainey Wilson, and I tried multiple times to get tickets to the Great Jones County Fair, but they were sold out the same day they went on sale many months ago. for the entertainer of the year. So tickets are long gone, sold out for Lainey Wilson, but their music lineup is stellar.
When I'm announcing the tractor pull, I'm going to have to try to schmooze into some VIP passes or something.
Yep.
I was hoping to stick around and check that out the next day.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to need a special connection to see that show.
Stacy Butson, introduce myself to you.
Yep.
Well, you got your work cut out for you, Mr. Butson, but I think you can get the job done.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Then the 18th is the Greene County Fair in Monroe. That's where we'll be after the 17th. Always a great pull down at the Greene County Fair. They got pulling all weekend there, though. So Thursday night, Badger State. Friday night, they have Tri-County Pullers and something else down there. And then Saturday night, they got Garden Tractors and another. I think it's their own pulling setup they do down there. That night, they have their own farm classes and stuff, I do believe, Saturday night.
Take a look at that crowd.
You'll have to take a motorhome down there, John, and just camp out.
Yeah. Might have to talk to Craig Wildman on that one. Helenville, the 19th. After that, the old Helenville Nationals. And Helenville is just east of Jefferson, Wisconsin on Highway 12 out there. So, or not 12. It's, what is that out that way? Shoot, I forget now. Home of Lemke Motorsports out there. That's for that, that's for sure. The 23rd and 24th will be the Stevenson County Fair, Freeport, Illinois. So Badger State will be down there along with Lucas Oil, right? Or Propylene League?
We'll be down there. We'll be down there for 2 nights, Tuesday and Wednesday night for the Stevenson County Fair in Freeport. And we got Badger State classes one night, and then next night we got PPL classes. And I'm not sure which is which. I think the PPL classes are on Tuesday and the Badger State guys are on Wednesday, because the PPL circuit, that really starts kicking it off for them, because they'll go to Goshen, Indiana, right the day after Freeport. And from there, a bunch of them will go down to Evansville and then down to Altamont, Illinois. I mean, they'll get – I don't think they run every class at all 4 of those events, but there's several of them that run 3 of them. And it's make or break for them guys when they start hitting that stretch of the season for the PPL pullers. And Stevenson County Fair, Kristopher, you talk about Darlington kind of and Sauk being where you got your start at. That's where I got my start, was at Freeport at the Stevenson County Fair down there, and I think I've been announcing down there for 30 years, if not 32. So yeah, I've been there a while anyway. So yeah, it's kind of near and dear to my heart down there in Freeport.
Pretty good, old Indian 46 and all. You get around.
Yeah.
Right, I know. I did start announcing after the automatic weight transfer was invented. I wasn't stone boats yet then, so I haven't been around that long.
Well, after Freeport, we go to Maizomanie on Friday night, the 26th of July. Usually the River Rumble there, it's a very good pull. That's a great little venue, too. It's a little track sitting down in, a horseshoe shaped around, grandstands are full, some of the best pork chop sandwiches along the way in the summertime, too. Great food and a great event. So
Maizomanie is just a wide spot on the road too there. What highway is that runs through there, John? Is that 18?
14.
14. Okay.
14. Yep. So 14.
Badger State pullers. They've got some pullers that live over that way. That's kind of their hometown pull too, isn't it?
Yep. Absolutely. After that is Dubuque, Iowa. The 27th. Be the second year we've done that. Usually pulled down there East Central Iowa last year, and that was a fun event. 2 tracks side by side down there. That's at their county fair down there as well. That was fun. So worked out good. Yeah. Then we move into August and Oshkosh, August 2nd on Friday night.
Yep.
I'll
be heading up to Oshkosh for that one on a Friday night. They totally reconfigured everything up there. They tore the racetrack out and and laid a pulling track down in the infield up there. So that's really changed from when we first started going up there many years ago. The whole layout of the fair, the racetrack and the pull facility, that's really been undergone a facelift since we started running up there.
Yeah, and that's a really nice fair too, as well. I mean, that's quite a large fair.
It is a very big county fair. Yes, lots of animal exhibits. I had a chance to run through there a couple times, and lots of exhibits.
Yeah, the couple times I've announced there in the past, there's always good live music usually after the pull as well and stuff. That's one I'd always have to go out in the fairgrounds, and we'd grab something to eat and walk around, check out the music. That's a great one. Not only you can go to that one to see the pull, but there's a lot more going on at that event too.
Winnebago County Fair, I believe it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes.
Winnebago County Fair. Oshkosh, not too far from Green Bay, about stone's throw away. So eastern part of Wisconsin. And then the 3rd of August is the Utica Festival, the old Utica Nationals. And that's between Stoughton and Cambridge on County Highway B, as in boy. There's a 4-way stop, County W and County B. And for that weekend in August, the population of Utica is times by about 100% from what its normal population is. There's good food, horse pulling on Friday night down there. It's been as long as I can remember, horse pulling's been down there. Used to be on Sundays. They moved it to Friday nights. We used to pull mini rods there in the 80s on Friday nights down there, if you remember, Stacy. But horse pulling Friday nights, that draws a big crowd. You don't see a lot of that anymore. And then Saturday starts out with some couple farm mall classes. And there's the old Smile Project that we used to give away pedal tractors to. J.R. Vinci and I started that out, where I think one summer we gave away 24 pedal tractors. I went out and talked to a bunch of dealerships and got sponsorships for them, and we had to put them all together, and then we gave tickets out and then drew a winner. So look at the smile on her face. Yeah. That was our Smiles project we did all over. So that was a lot of fun. Oh, there's a long night.
Utica gets to be a long day sometimes.
Some smiling going on there as well.
You'll have that.
Yeah.
Oh, the old Hemi of Jerry's on there. That's some good
that's one thing that's really neat about that Oshkosh to Utica is that, Utica the town would fit inside the Oshkosh Fairgrounds up there. I would almost imagine it's Badger State kind of goes from probably one of their biggest county fairs at Oshkosh that they would go to one of the smallest towns that they maybe go to in Utica one night to the next. It's kind of largest to maybe the smallest right there.
Yeah. Yes. And John, while you're in Utica announcing in your backyard, I'm going to head over to Warren, Illinois for the Joe Davis County Fair that same day. That's one of the only times this year that the Badger State tractor pullers will be in two different towns on the same day, and obviously not the same classes in both towns. We get over to Warren for the Joe Davis County Fair. That's Brinkmeyer Country and the G-Force team. They're all right over there, and they put on a tremendous feed for all the pullers and on the officials and all the help before the pull. And they get them great turkey dressing sandwiches there. And they're made locally in town, and they are really, really good. But the Joe Davis County Fair, they build a really good pulling track over there, and the fans come out that, and they really support their hometown pullers over that way. The place goes pretty much nuts when the pro stocks come out to the line with all the Foolish Pleasure fans hanging on the rafters. But it's a good time over there at the Joe Davis County Fair in Warren also.
Yeah, and you did mention, Stacy, the same classes. That's what I would note too from Oshkosh in northeast Wisconsin. It's almost the same classes that go to Utica. And, Oshkosh, you're done pulling and you maybe get out of there 11 o'clock, maybe midnight when you're all packed up. And you have to be in Utica in southern Wisconsin by maybe about 11 o'clock that next morning. and it only leaves you a couple hours to do your checkovers, do your preps, check your engine over, maybe drop a new piston in or what have you, from that Oshkosh night to Utica at 1 o'clock the next day.
Yeah,
So
and it depends, and it also depends largely on how you utilize your spare time too.
Yes, yeah, exactly right. So yeah, that's a little kind of a dramatic little stretch there for the pullers, and something the fans definitely got to keep an eye on in the points race to see what kind of changes happen that weekend.
Funny you say that, because I helped put new slugs and sleeves and bearings in the super farm after Friday night at Utica Festival one night, and about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, as the sun was coming up, that super farm was just about ready to make smoke again. So
yeah, that's
long Utica weekend. I did that a couple times, and yeah, I don't think I can do it anymore. That's
yeah.
long night.
Yeah, and that could happen. I mean, you would basically be driving from Oshkosh to Utica and then work that entire time to redo something, take a head off, do something, and then you would be done just in time to register to pull that day.
Yep, that morning they fired it up, loaded it back in the trailer, so it wasn't just your average oil change. After that, Warren, and I always joke too. I always tell whoever's with me, whatever, when we're announcing, places where there's 2 pulls in a day, I always ask, hey, so how'd you guys get so lucky to be on the B team? And they look, B team. I'm like, oh, 2 pulls today. There's an A team and B team, so I got to be the B team.
You're always on the B team workers.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
The 7th of August, the Carroll County Fair, Milledgeville, Illinois, and they redid everything there, from what I understand too. The center pit area, they tore the track out of there, the track that's been there forever. So they leveled everything out. That should be quite the venue this year.
Oh, is that the boys down there, Ben Hayen and them and Pat Holmes? They got in there, and because it's an old racetrack, they leveled it out.
Yep, they leveled everything out there. They got rid of the racetrack, and it's all been redone. The inner part there, inside part too, so they'll be able to bring more pullers and trailers in there the way it sounds. So it should be quite the event.
Yeah, they didn't use the racetrack for anything anymore. Not even harness racing, or could you imagine running stock cars around there or anything like that? But well, that's interesting because the Carroll County Fair, that's always been a traditional driver's track. The guys would always put the sled up on the high side there, coming out of turn 4, and kind of let her drift on down to the inside by the time they got out to 350 feet. And some guys did it better than others, that's for sure. So that'll change that whole program down there this year then. That's interesting to know. Yeah, we'll be there on a Wednesday night for Badger State action. And John, me and you'll be there on Tuesday night for Tri-County mini modified pulling action.
Yeah, and actually I might be there on Wednesday night as well, because Southwest Pullers gets to make its first trip this season to Illinois for a class. We are going to have a class there, a little matinee session before Badger State that night as well. So they have multiple organizations of pulling are going to be coming into that fair during that week. That's going to be a big deal for the locals and the spectators at that place.
Oh yeah. Well, Kristopher, I'll give you a heads up then too. Fredericks and Pat Holmes and Ben Hayen and Dustin Hook, they provide the food down there in the pits.
Yeah.
And
that's something you don't want to miss that then.
Well, no, that's pretty good food. A guy can get himself filled up pretty good. And that'll tide you over until after the pull's over, so you can go get a corn dog after the pull.
Yeah, exactly.
Duck Hobbs got on there and complimented Ben. And a few years back, when I was the president of Tri-County, the first year that I remember there got pretty stiff, pretty hard. We got to know Ben. I said, hey, when setting things up for us, I said, you don't need to roll it in so tight like the big sleds. Don't just roll her in, roll it once, and then go park it. Don't even bring them out here if the sun's hanging out. It gets hard. And since they did that, it was a lot better. A couple of years ago, someone from the group had the roller out there for whatever reason, but it seems a whole lot better. We put on a better show if they don't roll it so tight. The mini rods get into the top of it, and it's a little bit marbly, but that don't bother nothing. puts on a better show. After that, let's see, where are we?
Go to Beaver
Hillsboro.
Dam.
So,
well, yeah.
about the seventh Milledgeville, Hillsboro, Badger State, and PPL up to Hillsboro. And after that, the 14th of August is Beaver Dam, the Dodge County Fairgrounds. And that pole is really, really, really stretching out the map. Look at the crowds that come to Beaver Dam are amazing. That is just a fun pole to announce. And Stacy went with me last year, just chumping along, and we side by side announced that pole, 2 tracks. And I am not kidding. I don't know how many people fit in the grandstands, but they're full. And then not only are they full, they're about 6 deep and 400 foot along the track. It's kind of a replica of Darlington in a way, I guess, at the Dodge County Fairgrounds. Them people are all into it.
And
after that, we go to Lancaster.
And it was interesting up there at Beaver Dam last year, John. That John, last year up at Beaver Dam, it was kind of interesting that we're getting kind of far into the season at that point, and some of the pullers are relinquishing their seats and letting crew members or other family members or wives start to jump in and drive their tractors, and I don't know if that's just because it was just getting that late in the year where they want to start getting some other people into the seat. But it was pretty interesting up there last year, seeing some of the new drivers jump in and do quite well.
Well, the wives is the easy one to figure out, because you're going to have to buy some new parts pretty soon. So if you can butter the bread a little bit, you'll have some good toast later on. Al Paulson on the dozer.
Yeah, and just look at the color of the clay in the track up there. It's a little wet on top, so he's getting it ready for the show. But that kind of track right there, that's something special up there.
They added dirt to that track. They got permission and added dirt to it. So notoriously, the old race car tracks get pretty stiff, and that's just the way those tracks are built with that red clay. Not a lot mixed into them, so they put the water in them, and then they get packed so tight and they get hard. Well, it was so hard there that Al and a couple of guys up there, went to the fair board and said, "Hey, we want to put on the best show you can have, but if we're going to put on the best show, we got to make some changes." So they listened, and Al and them guys did the job, and they did a whale of a job this last year. That was night and day difference pulling there. Side by side, 2 tracks, just a great show. There's Al right there driving. Look at the stands full, all the people standing there.
Yeah.
Fun time.
Yeah, and they feed us good at that pole too. Al Paulson, and I don't know who else. I think Chris Feller might be in on that too up there. That feed all the pullers before the event, and they had pretty good medals up there at that one too.
Why does Stacy only talk about food? Well, he gets pretty hungry, traveling from Northern Illinois.
Well, because I'm retired, I'm on a fixed income, so I'm looking for a free meal where I can get some,
Doug Burkholt's Beaver Dam track was much better last year, so yes. 540 light pros there, pro stocks, limited pro stocks, pro stock trucks. What else is up there? Let's see here. Look on the list.
Had 2-wheel drive.
540 light pro super farms and 466s. Yes, 2-wheel drives are up there also. So great show.
Yeah.
Send donations
to
Hudson Foundation. Oh, goodness. You'll have that. Well, after Beaver Dam, we roll into Lancaster on the 15th of August.
Yeah.
There, that's enough.
Lancaster, that's home of the Grant County Fair. That's my home county fair. I grew up in Platteville, just down the road from Lancaster, and so that was kind of near and dear to me too. And actually, the Grant County Fair, they've actually got a Hall of Fame for their tractor pulling, and my dad was inducted into that Hall of Fame at the Grant County Fair. Boy, it's been 15, 20 years ago, I guess, a long time ago. But and actually, my dad back in 1971 promoted an NCPA pole there at the Grant County Fair in Lancaster. So that's how far that goes back for me up there, Lancaster. Yeah.
You didn't say that correctly. You
And,
got to say back.
and last year, I think we had 5 classes there. We had 67 hooks last year there, which was a boatload. But we clicked through them and is about as efficient a manner as you could. And we even started to pull off with a 10,000 pound or 10.5 biggest cheater farm stock class, I guess, for lack of a better term. And we even started off with that an hour before that we started the Badger State show. So we got a lot of pulling on up there at the Grant County Fair in Lancaster. And I assume it'll be more of the same this year.
Yes. Drew, we'll get to this here in just a couple minutes. Drew Schulenberg wanted to know how we got started. So we got just a couple more left here to talk about on our schedule. Pecatonica, Illinois will be the 16th after Lancaster, another county fair. Highland, Wisconsin.
That's
after that.
Yeah. Pecatonica. That's the Winnebago County Fair of Illinois. And again, pullers live in the backyard. Scooter Scott Burkhart, Nick Cunningham, Ray Heron, Gene Werda. Them guys all live right in that immediate area. And they have a pretty good feed down there too. I think it's over between Scooter's trailer and Nick Cunningham's trailer.
The old feed bag. You're like an old trusty steed looking for a pail of grain. Highland, Wisconsin. That's not a county fair, but Highland, Wisconsin, the 24th of August. And then we move to Viroqua, September 13th. Is that the Vernon County Fair, or what is that, Kristopher? You go to that one.
Yeah, I'll be there at that one. That's the Vernon County Fair, and that kind of traditionally they kind of call that the last county fair in Wisconsin, I guess. It's a real late county fair there in September, and I think in the past, or maybe they still do, some of the kids get off of school, I think, on Friday for that fair, and it's a great fair, a lot of tradition there at that fair as well, and it's just a super event. The track is really strong track there, and we get a lot of competitors from Minnesota that come there. So it was in the hot farm class, if I remember right, there was 3 different points champions there. Last year, the defending Badger State champion, I think the UPM United Pullers of Minnesota, and I think maybe a regional winner from Minnesota as well up there. But there was 3 different and they were already crowned points champions before they come there. So there's a lot of influx of pullers from northern Wisconsin and Minnesota that will take the hot farm numbers from usually maybe like 16, and there will be like 22 of them there or so. And super farm, there will be an extra 3, 4, 5 of them there come from Minnesota over to pull. So that's a great event to see how it's kind of the battle of the Mississippi River basically over at that event. It's a little added extra fun there. Yeah. And back it up one, John, back to Highland, rounding out the schedule in August. Highland up there, the Highland pullers, that is a product of COVID, that pull in Highland. They had a pull there during the COVID year when there was nothing else going on. And it was just an unsanctioned brush pull, and that thing's got legs of its own, and it's really taken off. And the interesting about the Highland track is it's built on an old sewer plant. They built a new sewer plant someplace else, probably closer to town, because it's way out in the country out there. But the dirt there is really I'd love to pull a mini rod on it, because the dirt there is really something else. And but that's definitely a growing event in Highland they got going on there too. So that's rounds out August for us at that point. And then I think that's a new start time, Stacy, as well. 5 o'clock is I think an hour sooner than the pass. So that's one for the fans to watch out for that.
Yeah, and we'll have to look, because I know last year we had another one of them. I don't know if it's 10-5 or 12-5, but it was one of them farm stock classes.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yep. And there will be.
I always refer to it as biggest cheater farm stock.
Yep. Yeah, and there will be that again this year. It's going to be probably an hour or two before the Badger State show. There's going to be probably 3 or 4 classes going on there. So that's kind of going to be a full day of pulling at Highland for them.
Then the last one on the schedule is September 14th. And that's in Monroe at the Greene County Fairgrounds, the Greene County Fall Nationals. And that's our championship day, I guess you could say, and last pull of the year. And that one gets a lot of pullers from all over as well. There's a lot of pulling organizations are done, and you'll see super farms and 540 light limited super stocks come from all over to that pull. And last year, the Lions Club did not have mushrooms, so I got to talk to Mark Hawthorne and see what we got to do to have their mushrooms down. I couldn't believe it. Just beside myself. Now I'm sounding like Stacy talking about food.
Yeah, talking about food. Yeah, but I think the Greene County Fall Nationals, if I'm not mistaken, that's moved up a week this year because I think Cheese Days must be next year because they always move their date a week forward and backward a week. Depends on Cheese Days because Cheese Days is an every other year event. And
it is. Yes, it is a weekend sooner. Yeah, being the night after Viroqua this year.
And that's why, because Cheese Days must not be this year. So they always move it up the years that they don't have Cheese Days. So
they moved it up.
Yeah.
Last year they moved it up. So Cheese Days had something to do with it, but I think they moved it up, hoping for A, better weather, B, more pullers would come because they're not quite getting in the field yet. And those that want to come can, where you make it later than that. A lot of guys south of the border for sure are in the field. Yeah. So why no Pro Farm in Monroe, Vicky Schultz? I can't answer that. I guess I know that they move classes around in and out of the Greene County Fall Nationals to kind of spice things up. To change things up. I mean, we've pulled many rods there 1 year and then we're not there for 2-3 years, and we've been in the program again, and different classes. Super Farms have been there, they've been out. So it's just kind of way they work together to spice the show up and to change it up. So it's not always the same. So
yeah, they juggle them around a little bit. I don't think hardly any class has been there every year. Because we can't have every class because we pull 8 hours as it is. And if we have every class, we'll pull 10 hours.
So, especially on one track. So that's what they do. They swap it up, and they tell the classes, a lot of times, hey, no hard feelings, but this is what we're doing. So just kind of changing things up. So that's what they do.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you that ahead of time. Hey, these are the classes this year, and next year, guys, such and such class won't be in this class. We're going to move these 2 classes in. Just what we're doing. And they generally try to get a non-standard Badger State class in there, whether it's the heavy alcohol supers or the light alcohol supers. Just to make it a little bit different too than a standard Badger State show also, which is fine by me. I like watching anything go down the track. Yep. So Drew Schulenberg's got a question that we kind of usually do anyway. I was hoping to ask a few other things, but we made this saga here with the schedule. We only got about 10 minutes left, but so I guess we'll do a quick abbreviated version of how we got started. I'll start out. I started garden tractor pulling years ago, and I always liked a voice that was there. Stan Miller was his name, and he was good friends with Jimmy Wildman, and Stan Miller was a great guy. I always loved his voice. I always loved how he announced. And then started running around with J.R. Vingy and the Buxton boys for many years when I was a kid and helping them guys out at the pulls, listening to Perry and Stacy announce. And then once we started pulling with the mini rods, then I got roped into announcing. Stacy said, here, you can do this. You'll be fine. And he took off. And then after that, Stacy's daughter had to go to the Mayo Clinic, so he asked me to help him out on the Badger State schedule, and I think I've been part of the schedule since then, and that was probably 21 years ago or so, maybe more, 21, 22, something like that. But so that's how I got started in things, and I just done a few other pulls, other places, some Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League pulls I used to do, but that's how I got started. Kristopher?
Yeah, mine, I pretty similar. I got into the sport of pulling from going to Louisville when I was younger in school and listening to Butch Krieger announce, and just really liked that. And then I went around with my dad to some Badger State pulls, and when I got my driver's license, went with some friends and listened to John and Stacy announce, and just kind of really got kind of interested in pulling through that, and wanted to help out do something, and kind of waited for the right opportunity, which happened to be when somebody was not able to make it or show up. The first one I announced was in Hillsboro, Wisconsin at Labor Day at a PI pull, because their announcer last minute said that he couldn't make it. And Gary Shavink was the head of that club at the time. And he said, yeah, I don't want to do it. You go do it. You try announcing. And then the kind of my Badger State opportunity I got because the kind of the producer behind the show here tonight didn't make it to that event. Something happened there where he wasn't able to make it. And Greg Elsing, in charge of Badger State, said, I don't really want to announce it that bad. And why don't you do it? I went up and asked if he wanted me to do it. So I did that, and kind of been on the schedule since about 2013, I guess, for Badger State. And now I announce for Badger State and a few other clubs, and do a NTPA Grand National event in Iowa, and then announce at a North American Invitational Diesel Truck drag race challenge in Indianapolis at the Lucas Oil Speedway. So get to do a little bit of announcing and pulling and drag racing. And there's the comment from the guy that kind of propelled my announcing start back in the day. And I kind of got started through the Beer Money pulling team as kind of the first admin on that, and was the first admin to go down to Louisville and do some promoting with the Beer Money pulling team back in 2012 and 13. So kind of got my start through that and evolved into this, and just grateful to be a part of the group with these other two guys on here. I was going to say clowns, but I said guys.
We love Chris, but we need to start Let's Grow Pulling. So, all right, Stacy, let's give you a recap quick, and we'll call her a night.
All right, very good. 2 months, boys. We'll be seeing you at the pulling tracks across America. It won't be long.
Exactly. Yeah.
Time's coming quick. So.
Yep.
What year did you start? What year did you start announcing in Stacy then?
I started back in the early 80s on the Tri-County circuit and took off from there. But yeah, everybody's heard my story a couple of times, so they want to get the other show going. So we'll check out. Hope everybody has a safe planting season, get the crops planted and get them tractors ready. And 2 months is going to go by pretty quick.
Yeah. So we'd like to thank Slum Enterprises, Front Street Toys, Casper Egg, and Trip Downing, some of our great sponsors for the Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers. So thank you, Kristopher. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Jason, for all your help. So till next week, fans, have a good night.
So long, everybody.